Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again, and I've taken to yet another Infernal Blow character. I've made a Slayer before and a Jug, and this time around it's another Jug. Just something about Jug plus Infernal Blow does seem to make sense. The previous one was a Terminus Est version, so a two-handed, and it went down pretty well. Definitely a bit cheaper than the one I'm going to showcase here, which is the Brutus Lead Sprinkler Jug Infernal Blow. So there is a lot more tools to enhance your DPS in a version like this one. There is a lot more you can do to min-max, and overall the character did become pretty good to be able to take on all kinds of 83 doves, became fairly tanky, and did some Uber Elder runs too. Now, as always with the previous one, I have to show you or let you hear the beauty and the satisfaction that is Infernal Blow before we go any further, because it just doesn't do it any justice to see the explosions. You have to hear the satisfaction guaranteed sounds. So as you can hear, they are sounds similar to those of the bleed explosions from Gladiator and Hemophilia gloves, but Infernal Blow is bigger because it has its own sort of thicker base to it, and the bigger the pack, the larger the explosion, the better the sound, and it is really something just about everyone should try out there because it's tough to put it down once it gets going. Once you start really mapping and getting those big bloofs happening, especially in delves, it's pretty addicting and you just want to go out and explode more and more monsters. Now, Infernal Blow itself, not the greatest skill going around. It's pretty decent for clear. It's okay for single target. Definitely gets outshined by many other much more overpowered things for single target, like a Molten Strike or a Blade Flurry, but it can hold its own. Its biggest problem really ultimately just being melee. So to actually get your single target in, you have to swap a couple of gems. You are then entirely at the mercy of pure melee range, name locking, and it does get pretty awkward, as you'll see later in the Uber Elder video. So the gems that let you really get some serious clear speed going and lots of explosions are Ancestral Call and Melee Splash. When you pair both of them together, you do have lots of decent range, lots of explosions, lots of hits, and plenty of splash. And this example here, these little clips are from triple sexented, double beyonded malformations, so lots and lots of monsters and lots of explosions. The Herald of Ash that you're seeing effect is the Bloodguard Herald of Ash. The last time I made a Jug Infernal Blow, I was using Automaton Herald of Ash. It just adds that extra bit of aesthetic explosion effect, but otherwise Herald of Ash shouldn't really help too much with the clear or anything, but there's not much else we can really do with our mana, so why not really just shove it in there, unless you are going a pure fizz sort of version like a Terminus Est, in which case you can run a Herald of Purity. So like I mentioned, for pure single target you do get rid of the melee splash and you do get rid of Ancestral Call, becoming very extremely single target. And it does get kind of awkward, except for Chimera fights, for example, I don't take those area gems out because you really want Melee Splash and Ancestral Call for the ad phases, and likewise in some of the Delve boss encounters and Uber Elder, anything that has lots of ads, you really want some extra Melee Splash and Ancestral Call, and it can be a bit awkward trying to get these gem swaps in if you want to maintain maximum single target while also having a very respectable ad clearing skill. So Warchief Totem definitely helps, and so does Val Warchief Totem, but for Chimera by himself I basically just keep Melee Splash and keep Ancestral Call in. I have some reduced or rather shitty single target damage, but it is definitely good enough to get through the phases. And then, like I said, once you're full pure single target, it can be a little bit weird because you have to be directly on top of the enemy. You have to be getting lots and lots of hits in, and you can't really deal with any additional adds that come in, any other monsters, because it just is basically impossible. Also got one clip of the, I don't know, 380 Delve Kurgal fight. Just a little bit of damage showcase there. He is very tanky and feels like he takes a reduced amount of damage to begin with, for sure, through some of these phases, but you get through it. You then take him down another phase through some adds, and then a real big stupid beam phase. So I have done a few of these guys by now, but I'm not sure I've ever shown you a video of it. So it's basically a DPS race, and the more DPS you have, the much easier the fight will be. And no, I still have not found, seen, or fought an All the Crystal King. So I'll go over the character for you guys and what I did with this one, what it's different to the Terminus Est version, and yeah, just how I built Infernal Blow Jug with Brutus Lead Sprinklers. So here is the character. It is a level 93 Juggernaut called Mobile Jug. A little bit of Diablo, whatever, who the fuck cares. It is using Brutus Lead Sprinkler, so this time around it is just pure fire damage, stacking lots of strength to get as much 4 to 7 additional fire damage as possible, and it is crit Brutus Lead Sprinkler, which is not something too commonly done, I don't think. Reached 1043 strength, and it is definitely one of those characters that the more you're going to invest, the more you're going to fine-tune, the better it will become. The Terminus Est version seems to have a slightly lower ceiling, I'd say, for what kind of gear you can put into it, and ultimately it's going to be a very friendly sort of league starter character, or one that just does not require too much specific gear, because Brutus Lead Sprinkler is going to be kind of tough to get in some leagues, some sort of situations, and as well as that, lots and lots of strength on your gear while also maintaining resist, life, accuracy, damage can be kind of tough. A lot of my gear is self-crafted here, but it's definitely not going to be easy to get this sort of stuff, at least at the start of a league. It's very late league type of fine-tuning of gear. So if you want just a really nice Infernal Blow character that can get you enjoying the skill and clear just about everything, then the Terminus Est version that I've made from Incursion is the one I definitely recommend. If you want to go all in and really have some fun fine-tuning your character, Brutus Lead Sprinkler is your man here. So currently I am a Jug, and that is because there's some pretty good synergy with the undeniable node for attack speed, accuracy conversion there, as well as strength from accuracy. And then we really want to try and counteract the fact that we have to wear an Abyssus, because you really want that crit multi. So you're counteracting it by getting the extra endurance nodes over here, the extra endurance defensive node, and then the extra armor node. And once you have your endurance charges up, which should be basically always through the node itself and Enduring Cry, you are pretty damn tanky, even through Abyssus. Now, if you want to not use Abyssus, then I probably do not recommend using a Jug, because the damage won't really be too good. It's really tough to get enough damage for the proper endgame scenarios without an Abyssus on a Jug, I think. Better off just going Champion, like I've done in a few other characters. Should be a very easy character to convert into a Champion by yourself if you really want to do that. So the passive tree just goes around getting some crit multi, bit of area, some mace nodes, fire damage, and then you try and get as much strength as possible, and all the endurance charges on the passive tree as well. We get our leech over here, that's our life leech, and that's our mana leech. Get some crit down there, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward, not too difficult to passive tree. Try and get some life as well. I think I'm rocking something like, let's see, 200% maybe? 176%, and that puts me at 6,800 life, because you do get a lot of extra flat life from stacking strength. So it means you don't need as much percent life to get to the really big life numbers, but it definitely takes a bit of fine tuning to get to this stage. And then all of my jewels are just attack speed, LE, crit, and life as well. So pretty easy to get those and get even more life. And then one Watcher's Eye, I believe, that does some fire penetration, since we are running Anger full time, paired with Herald of Ash. So like I mentioned, the actual links that you want to clear with for Infernal Blow are Infernal Blow, Melee Splash, and Ancestral Call. That's what's going to get you the clear speed very early on. You then chuck in elemental damage with attacks, then Ellie Focus, and multi-strike whenever you have the attack speed to start making it feel really good. Now you may ask, why such a shit offhand for a stat stick? Simply put, Infernal Blow attacks with maces, it attacks with let's see, sword, axe, mace, staff, unarmed. If I have 2 of these, for example, 2 lead sprinklers, you will alternate attacking with them. If I have a stat stick mace, you're going to alternate attacking with them. And you only want 1 Brutus Lead Sprinkler since this damage is local. It doesn't stack with 2 Brutus Lead Sprinklers. You just have 2 individual ones, each stacking their own strength. So what you want is something you can't attack with, which is either a dagger or a claw, and then basically the only good stuff we can get, since I am pure fire stacking, is elemental as chaos, and then I just got a few resists chucked on an Ellie damage with attacks. But what you're looking for is Ellie as chaos, penetration to elements, maybe some crit multi, resists are pretty good, Ellie damage is good too. Managed to fossil craft this with just some aberrant fossils, aberrant, prismatic, and actually that's mostly what you're looking for, maybe scorching as well, or scorch fossils. Those can really get you going for these little chaos crafts, but you know, it's pretty basic sort of dagger. It mostly just filled out some resists for me. Should be able to buy something somewhat similar if you really don't want to craft, or hell, you can just run 2 of these, can run a shield. It's not super important, I wouldn't think, but you're trying to get lots and lots of strength and lots of elemental damage to attacks. So just about every piece of my gear costs about 1 exalt to just buy outright, but it's going to be, you know, harder on availability, trying to get percent attributes on your amulet, multi, strength. You can get damage per strength on amulets as well. This belt here I self-crafted with Chaos Orbs and then slammed on the life roll. So getting a percent attributes 50 strength belt. It's not too hard with the Chaos Orbs. I did manage to hit like 3 of these types of things with about 300 chaos, but they're just not that available on the market. And then also I bought a chest that had some life, strength, and crit for about 1x and slammed or exalted rather, both the armor and the armor and evasion mods. So 2 bad prefixes, but whatever, a bit of extra defense there. As for your flask, you go for a Wise Oak, Onslaught, Diamond, and an Series. Triple balancing a Wise Oak would make you so much tankier, but this character could not manage to do it, so I've just got the highest fire one. And then ideally you get cold as your lowest because, you know, Uber Elder is cold, so that would be very nice to do. But that didn't happen either, so I'm not even capped on my lightning. I rely purely on having endurance charges up all the time, which they are 100% of the time, so you don't have to worry too much about being uncapped. But if you can triple cap your Wise Oak, then you'll become way tankier and it's worth doing. As I mentioned, when you want to go single target, you take out Ancestral Call and Melee Splash, put in Ruthless, and put in Fire Penetration. So do have a few spare sockets if you want to mess around with some other stuff, but currently I've just got Leap Slam, Faster Attacks, Fortify, Enduring Cry, Increased Duration to Vile Haste, Blood Rage, Herald of Ash, Anger, and then our War Chief Totem setup, which is War Chief Totem, Combustion, Damage on Full Life, Early Damage with Attacks, a couple of Murderous Eyes over here for fire damage and life. And lastly, I'll show you the DPS of the character, which is 940,000. Single target with all of your buffs and shit up against Shaper-esque targets. Now, it is a lot higher than that because the Infernal Blow on Path of Building does not factor in the actual special effect of dealing 66% of damage per charge and getting up to 6 charges and then exploding as well. So it doesn't factor that in. It should be similar to let's say Glacial Hammer damage that I had a couple weeks ago, which is very good indeed. Just this isn't really a champion and hasn't scaled quite as hard on the damage because we're Brutus Lead Sprinkler, I think. But this is my attempt at making a somewhat different, somewhat interesting Infernal Blow. You can go with just pure physical weapons, Nebulox, converting full fire, getting extra damage. All of that should work too. But the numbers are definitely kind of tough to pull out on Path of Building with Infernal Blow, especially when you don't factor in the additional explosion damage. So don't be too put off. just make whatever Infernal Blow you think is going to be cool and work out for you, and give it a shot because it's a very fun skill. So I'll leave you with the Uber Elder kill. I didn't manage to get a deathless one in 4 runs. I managed to get 2 of the runs, I think, with 1 death, and then it got pretty messy on some of the others. This is one of the 1 death runs. It did end up going fairly well. I just messed up one time. But yep, Uber Elder with Infernal Blow, pretty tough. I wouldn't expect too many people can do it unless you have really good gear, because you're very melee and it sucks being this melee for this fight. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the build, and see you next time. We should gaming sleeve? I don't know, man. I feel like it's a waste on this build. I'm not going to get enough value out of gaming sleeve on this one. I'm going to get triple dicked no matter what I do. But fine. Yes. Yes. And the Trickster Sensei, I had fire damage on my ring, Rufus.
Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Do something.
Confusing, but okay. I feel like that should have hit me. Ooh, that was a big hit. Yeah. I don't like what I've left myself here. I knew I fucked it up. I put it one way, the balls, and then I moved too soon, and then I knew that they were going to come back the other way. But it was too late to change my thinking. It's too late. Holy shit, he went for the like quadruple slam just then. That was very rude. Yeah. You there. Pop. Elder is such a bag of dicks sometimes. He almost killed me just earlier by shooting like 2 double spears in a row. Who does that? Oh, as if that's hitting me. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Ah! Did he just drop ground? He did. That's so stupid. Slaps! So many slaps. Oh no. Oh no. Ah, good. Yeah, I already pushed him over, but he did so many extra attacks. That's just stupid. Where is he? Okay, there. That's fine. It slaps? It slaps! Oh god. Just trying to get a lot of damage in. Okay. It's not too bad, I guess, but yeah, fudged up. Never, Joe. Is that good? That's not good. Did I die that one time? It was just the one, right? That shouldn't have ever happened? That was really stupid? Or is that two? Yeah, one time. Fuck!